Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be the part of this podcast that is on English through technology was a subject actually. Uh, I've been the research person of the subject, and today's podcast is all about challenges of technology of teaching and learning English in the digital age. So the panelists, you can see they are my students, and what is the need of technology, because the subject it says English through technology, and there is dire need of integrating technology in the classroom. Okay, we should not take it theoretically only, we should also bring practical approaches to the subject as well, because I've been the part of this subject. I have taught you the subject, so the way I have engaged you, for example, blog writing, right, it was something which was very practical, and we went through Penzu also, we worked on TED Talks, and there was certain other applications that help our students. Are my objective was to empower my learners, to bring integrate technology in the classroom. That's what the concern is. But these days there are challenges, critical thinking, right? And as a result, we will cease to work on writing skills as well. So there are so many challenges. By the way, we've got the panel of students starting from Mr. Adnan is a brilliant student, Miss Aliza, Miss Annam, and Mr. Kamran. So that is the Miss Aliza. Miss Aliza, my question will be, because you have been the part of these classes, right? So we have been utilizing, because the very subject it's self-explanatory. It says English through technology, of course, will be employing technological tools in a classrooms. So concerning this, my question is, what is the impact of technology on teaching and learning, as you have been the part of, and you must have witnessed how teaching and learning are going on. So what is the impact of technology on teaching and learning?
So first of all, thank you so much for having me. And now let's move forward. Impact of technology. Technology has truly transformed the way we learn and teach. So technology learning methods are different these days due to the technology, and many students use the technology to access the information. There are so many sources.
And they are also exploiting the technology.
Yes, sir. And the technology is in its evolution time, like it is evolve day by day, and we get more chance.
And yes, Miss Aliza said that technology is in evolutionary phase in the context of Pakistan. Of course, it's an evolutionary phase. Okay, well said, very good, Miss Aliza. And now moving towards Mr. Kamran, Miss Anam. Miss Anam, my question from you is, you've again been the part of these classes as well. What do you believe, for example, so you were the part of the classes where the technology was used, right? And what is your concept of a class when there's no technology? How do you find teaching without integration of technology?
Firstly, thank you so much. I think teaching without technology is okay, but sometimes it can be difficult. Like teachers and students have to depends on books, notes, and lectures. This is the process of learning is good, but sometimes is not good. It's so boring and it's very slow.
Yes, she is right, because in traditional teaching method there's no technology. For example, students consume time. Yes.
Like sometimes teacher and during lectures, classroom teachers explain on topic, and it's hard to understand just by listening. But the same time we can use technologies, for example videos, diagrams, or animations. We can learn most easily and interestingly.
Well said, wonderful. Miss Anam, clapping for her. Right? Okay, very good. And now moving towards Mr. Kamran. Kamran, I was raising the concerns of teaching as well. For example, in our context, at schools, at colleges, the teachers hardly use technology, right? And even at universities, for example, Alhamdulillah, our university is technologically sound, or a well-established university. But in the context of other universities, what do you believe? What sort of challenges do EFL teachers face while integrating technology?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you. I'm very thankful for Dr. Abdullah Sahab who has given me a chance to hear me in this podcast. Okay, so now let's move to the question which arises here to me. What kind of challenges we are facing? Because you know very well, first of all, we all have to thanks to the COVID-19. Because of COVID-19, whenever COVID-19 was switched, we moved to the technology. Our country, Pakistan, integrated to the technology, and technology has played a vital role in our country, not just in our academic but also in our professional life as well. So the main challenge is like a teacher. If we go to the context of a teacher faces whenever he has a lack of training, because technology is not just a game. Technology is such a vital and it is such a wonderful, great achievement of a scientist and those who have made the technology. So lack of training for a teacher is such a difficult thing, because you know very well that through technology a teacher must have to prepare the lessons, he must have to arrange the class. So after that there was another thing. The main challenge is time management. Time management is such a big issue which here in our country, because our students not just focus, the teacher's dominance will be lack and he will not be too much dominant in the class. So these are the challenges which a teacher or a trainer faces during technology. Thank you very much.
Very well said, Mr. Kamran. He raised the concerns and he first talked about the emergence of technology in the context of Pakistan. We are talking about the importance of technology, right? We sometimes say it's beneficial, but everything has its consequences also. So in this regard, what do you think? What are the disadvantages of employing technology in EFL classes?
So as you know that everything has some merits and demerits, as like technology has demerits also. I'll talk about two disadvantages of technology in classroom. Firstly, in learning, there is a disadvantage which is called overload of information. Like if the students are exploring on Google about the contents of their topics, they are searching a lot and they saw too much of material and excessive handouts and articles. They got overloaded. The information is getting overloaded and it is getting some concern of their lack of getting some relevant information. Secondly, I'll say the distraction is one of the most prominent thing which is highly concerned in technology. In sense, if we as a student, I know that like sitting on the back benches and like that, it distracts us all the time. Like smartphone can ring at any time and it can be a distraction. So that was my...
You've been the part of traditional classes also, and you've been the part of classes, technologically integrated classes also. So how can you compare between these two classes, traditional one and technologically integrated class?
Sorry, the difference between traditional classes, traditional teaching classes and the technology integrated classes is quite clear. In the traditional teaching classes, the teacher-centered class, we call it the teacher-centered class. With the chalkboard and the textbooks, there are so very limited resources of learning. So this is quite difficult for students. And the way we get feedback from tests and assignments, which can take a time, very time. Like we check our tests and marks, it takes weeks or a month. We wait for the results only. So this is a very, I think, the time-taking process in my point of view. And we only rely on the teacher. Whatever he or she taught us, we...
EFL or ESL, when you say ESL is English is a second language, and EFL English is a foreign language. Since we are multilingual societies, we are living in a multilingual society, right? We don't have the one language at all. For example, a mother tongue could be, if it is Sindhi, Bravi, whatsoever. So second language is Hindi, third language is Urdu, and English becomes the fourth language, right? So English is not the second language, we can say in EFL, right? And for example, if you talk about the European people, like Americans, English people, they are monolingual. They've got the one language only, it's English, right? For example, let's say Germans, let's say Russians, they've got one language only, for example, right? They speak English, they learn English as a second language. So in that sense, we say ESL. Alright? Once it's a second language, it's ESL. Once it's a foreign language, I mean, if the person is multilingual, then it can be the EFL. Right? Objectives into the big achievement, the milestone, the one you've been dreaming for, the one that was your dream, your parents have been dreaming for. So by being focused, not to be diverted, we keep talking about it. The technology is a diversion. I mean, we get diverted easily into the TikTok, unnecessary reels, and some other videos, for example. Well, once your question, as far as your question is concerned, we cannot say that before technology there was no education. Education was there, but with the emergence of technology, learning has become faster. Right? Visual exposure, for example. Okay, there are some scientific concepts, biological concepts. Okay, they were hard to understand. Now, how can a teacher make you understand some, such biological, some scientific processes by making you understand on the board only? But instead, if a video of 5 minutes or so is being played, okay, that visual, for example, when you watch a movie, okay, we remember every scene, every dialogue. Hey, so it's a visual exposure that interests us. Right? Education was there, education is now, but technology has made there's no replacement of that. Yes. Okay, the last question for
the digital distraction challenge. But technology also have a negative impact on our critical thinking. For example, students are creating assignment through ChatGPT instead of writing their own, because these tools are for brainstorming. ChatGPT is creating ideas, not for writing. So how you will address this challenge?
very good question by Kamil. Actually, we need to think about this question, all the students. There was a time when we used to be very much worried about writing an application, writing a letter, writing a proposal, right? For example, thesis proposal, right? AI ChatGPT can give you those samples, right? You can see, and then you can work accordingly on your own, not relying on the technology. Whatever it generates, you rely only on that. You're submitting, for example, especially the assignments. All right, once we see the assignments of students, all are similar. We want them to submit computerized. Then we are asking, we will be checking plagiarism, right? But that makes no sense. So the students of today, okay, you may use the technology, you may see the sample, you may see the directions, you may seek the guideline, but this never means that you are, misusing the technology. And this will finally, ultimately turn out to be very destructive for you, in the sense that you'll be losing your creativity, you'll be losing your critical thinking, and you'll be losing your writing skills as well. Unless you're putting your hands on the pen, you cannot be a productive, ineffective writer. Right? Fine, you are creating blogs, all right? You're seeking assistance from AI or ChatGPT, that's fine. But you should also write on your own as well, by keeping the balance. Okay, that's the only way forward.
My question is that what do you think, as we know technology totally transformed the center of learning, like from teacher-centered learning to the student-centered learning. So what do you think, which center of learning is more impactful, beneficial? Like if you guys prefer the student-centered learning, then how you will encounter the issue of accuracy? Because on the internet there is huge amount of the information. Then how you will analyze the information which is accurate and which is not accurate? Because in this age, many students bunk the classes, so skip the classes because they think that they will study everything from the internet. But when they go on the internet, so they will encounter with the issue of accuracy. So how do you see this thing?
Students, thank you so much for this insightful session. I wanted there must be the podcast, because we've been discussing podcasts, what they are and what sort of educational content could be created by using podcasts. And what I do in my classes, I am very practical. All right. For example, in the start, I give the theoretical version of the classroom teaching, and then I bring those things into practice, because until we go through the practical approaches, the learning becomes meaningless, right? We need to make our learning insightful, productive, and meaningful also. For this purpose, we had this podcast today. I hope it must have turned out to be very helpful for you, especially in the context of a subject, English through technology, and the debate that was on challenges of teaching and learning English in the digital age. Thank you so much.